No, okay. The triumphant return of Pamela Plumpton. Pamela Plumpton woke to sunlight that did not apologise for itself. It arrived bold and golden through linen curtains, warm on her face. Persistent, the sort of light that insisted you existed. She lay still for a moment, listening, not for traffic, not for neighbours, not for the hiss of a kettle, but for the sea. It breathed steadily beyond the low, white wall of her cottage, patient and alive. Ibiza had been an accident at first, or perhaps accidents were simply what other people called decisions made too late to be tidy. Her cottage sat on a rise just outside a village that smelled of salt, citrus peel, and last night's wine. It had uneven tiles, a roof that clicked softly as it cooled, and bougainvillea that grew where it pleased. Pamela had not chosen it so much as accepted it. The way she once accepted everything, only this time the acceptance felt like relief instead of resignation. She padded barefoot across the floor, toes finding familiar cracks, and opened the door. The morning was already awake. A scooter buzzed past somewhere downhill. A dog barked. A man laughed. A full-bodied sound. Careless. Pamela smiled, the expression still surprising on her own face. Once she'd practised not taking up space. Now she stretched. Down on the beach, her surf students were gathering. They came from all over London, Berlin, Stockholm's, places that sounded sharp and busy. They called her Pam because she let them. And because Plumpton felt like a coat she no longer needed. She'd learned to surf at 46, which felt both ridiculous and revolutionary. The first time she stood on the board, knees shaking, salt stinging her eyes, she'd laughed so hard she fell straight back into the water. Nobody tutted, nobody rushed her. The sea didn't care. Teaching came naturally. Pamela had always been good at watching people, at noticing when they were about to give up, when fear masqueraded as boredom. She spoke gently, but she no longer apologised for speaking at all. Again, she told them, clapping her hands, you're allowed to try again. After the lesson, she rinsed sand from her ankles and wandered up the beach to the little hut with a hand-painted sign, ink and salt. Tattooing had surprised her more than surfing. The first needle buzz had made her flinch, not from fear, but from recognition, precision, focus, permanence. It felt like telling the truth with her hands. People trusted her with their skin, anchors, dates, names they hoped would last. Small symbols of survival. She worked slowly, carefully, asking questions, listening. Listening had always been her skill. Now it paid rent. By late afternoon, the heat softened into something kind. Pamela closed the studio and walked home along the path where rosemary grew wild and crushed itself underfoot, releasing scent without asking permission. Her lover was already there. He was 10 years younger and infuriatingly alive in that way that had once made her suspicious. He sprawled on the low wall with a book he was not reading, hair damp from the sea. Skin browned by sun and ease, he grinned when he saw her, like seeing her was the best part of his day. "You're late," he said. "Live with it," Pamela replied. She was allowed to say that now, allowed to enjoy the way his eyes followed her, allowed to take pleasure without justifying it, allowed to want. They cooked together, fish, tomatoes, bread torn by hand, wine stained the table at dusk. The sky bruised purple and gold, the bats stitched the air with quiet industry. Later, in the cool of the cottage, Pamela opened the small wooden box beneath her bed. Inside were fragments of her old life. Her passport, expired now, a single black and white photo from an office Christmas party where she looked like a ghost pretending to be human. And the envelope. She had posted it after all. Not on that Tuesday, later, weeks later, from a different city, a different version of herself. It had been addressed simply, Marlene. Inside, there were no explanations, no apologies, no grand statements about finding oneself. Pamela had written the truth as she understood it then, in careful, tidy handwriting. I am alive. I am safe. I needed to stop disappearing. She didn't know if her sister had received it. She didn't know if it had caused tears or anger or relief or nothing at all. She'd learned slowly that other people's reactions were not her responsibility. She closed the box. On the island, Pamela was known for other things now. For strong coffee, for straight lines, for calm authority delivered in a soft voice. For the quiet confidence of someone who'd once been invisible and chosen, finally, to be seen. There were rumours, of course. People always embroidered what they did not understand. Someone once whispered that she'd been a dominatrix in her early days on the island. Pamela did not correct them, because she had been, spanking men who yearned to be boys. It soon bored her. There were parts of her life now that did not require explanation. Power, she'd learned, did not always announce itself. Sometimes it waited patiently until it was invited in. On certain evenings she walked along the cliffs and thought of Ash Grove, of zebra crossings and charity shops, mannequins, and a woman who'd been so very good at just carrying on. She did not hate that woman. She honoured her. Because without her, Pamela Plumpton would never have known how extraordinary it feels to stand barefoot in the sun and take up exactly as much space as you need. If someone from the old city were to pass her on the street now, they might not recognise her. Her hair was looser. Her shoulders no longer curved inwards. Her eyes met the world directly. But if they did, if somehow they looked closely enough, they might catch a flicker of familiarity. And Pamela would smile. Not a polite one, a real one. The sort that says, I didn't vanish, I arrived. Some saved their pennies for a ship called Dignity. Pamela saved for a new life and chose her moment to escape.